Well, on today's episode, we have a very interesting guest with a unique background. And if you happen to be a business owner or entrepreneur, you are in for quite a treat. So let me give you the intro. It's quite the intro. So she is a she's a former professional tennis player. And she also worked at the New York Stock Exchange and was one of only 20 women on the floor, which is quite an incredible feat. And so she's built her entire life again and again and reinvented herself, even after having a very profound loss. And then she took these skills and decided to teach others, especially entrepreneurs, how they can navigate changes in their business and reinvent themselves time and time again so that they can have a reinvention in their revenue. So this is quite an interesting guest. Welcome, Carol. We are thrilled to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you can. Tell us a little bit about kind of your background and what you're doing now. And then we've got plenty of questions to ask.
Well, I've always worked under pressure. I've always had jobs where I'm one of the few females in a male-dominated industry. And working under pressure was either walking out onto the tennis court or walking onto the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And I really learned a lot in those experiences. And I think I learned something that they never teach entrepreneurs. And that is that you can have all the coaches, the strategies, the money, but if you lose your internal capacity, that everything stalls, nothing flows.
Wow, exactly. And so how did you start putting these two things together, your past experiences and entrepreneurship? Like, how did you learn that the lessons from all of these previous experiences would translate into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I rebuilt myself step by step. And along the way, I learned a lot of lessons. And now I am really excited that I have this program that I teach founders to reclaim their capacity, rebuild their momentum, and reignite their revenue.
Oh, I love it. So for anyone that's watching that's wondering, well, what do we mean by rebuilding their capacity? What does this look like in tangible terms? Like, what does it mean?
Well, when your energy dips, your launches dip, when your clarity drops, your business kind of like it just doesn't go anywhere. And if you're carrying around all of this like emotional overload, then you can't make any decisions. And money doesn't really know hustle. It knows frequency. So it does respond to, revenue responds to the founder. So that's why it's important to get, your flow back.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so let's talk. If we've got an entrepreneur who is doing webinars and launches, or we've got an entrepreneur who is trying to land premium clients and the revenue is like up and down, tell us what you're attributing this to. Like, what's the secret sauce for them unlocking this?
So it's a 60-day, it's called the Revenue Reinvention Program. And there's 3 parts to it. The first is we do the internal part, and where we reclaim your clarity and your new and work on your new identity.
Right.
And then we go into the business momentum and the speed of like your decision making.
Okay.
Because that's really important, because that's slowed down. And then we turn that all into revenue. So you're going to have better launches, you're going to increase your sales, and your business is going to like be reignited again.
Okay, so talk to us about who this program is for, who this framework works for. So let's say there are 3 different types of entrepreneurs that you work with. Talk to us about this. So if we've got a plateaued founder, they can't get an increase in revenue no matter how many coaches or courses they're taking. Will this work for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And what about women who are in transition or entrepreneurs in general that are in transition? How does this work for them? Maybe they're jumping into a new business model. How would
Hmm.
this kind of help them start unlocking revenue in a new business?
Well, all of those identities, they really want the same thing. They're all reinventing themselves. One
Mm,
might be reinventing themselves like through their business. One might need a new identity, and someone might be reinventing like their entire life.
mm.
And ultimately, they all want the same thing. They want more money, more clarity, more power, and they want their business to be reignited, and they want it fast. They don't want to wait around because money is time. I mean, time is money,
Yeah.
and so if their business has been stalling for several months, they want to change, and they want it to happen fast. And that's what I do. Like, a lot of them can't figure out, like, they think it's their strategy.
Hmm.
That's the problem, but that's my special gift, is that I can look and see what the issue is, what the internal issue is, and then things can change really fast.
Wow. And so I think that's one of the things that makes the revenue reinvention so interesting. Like lots
Mhm.
of entrepreneurs are on these 6-month courses and they've got this 1-year mentorship, and meanwhile, no money's being made.
Right.
And for entrepreneurs, that's one of the, cruxes of what we do when money has to be made. And so when they join you, tell me what can happen in 30 days. So they join Revenue Reinvention in 30 days. What sort of tangible results can we see in their business? Are we unlocking money or do we have more clarity? You tell me, what do we get?
Yeah, a lot of things. It's that, I mean, first of all, they get their spark back. So they're really excited. They show up with passion again for their business.
Hmm.
And that translates to they're, increasing their prices, and they're increasing them with confidence.
Ooh,
And their launches are really converting now. Like, people don't only sign up, but they actually show up, and then they sign up for their programs, and they pay in full. They're not asking for like a 12-month payment program or
wonderful.
something like that. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And that's in
Mm.
30 days.
Yes.
So then let's fast forward and we say in 60 days, at the
Mhm.
end of their time with you, what are we getting? What are we seeing happening in a 60-day time frame? Are these things now stabilized? Because usually, entrepreneurs are in this up and down, feast and
Mhm.
famine. So now that happened in the first 30 days. What are we getting in 60 days?
Well, it's just going to continue to grow even more. And because with the more confidence you have, and the more clarity, the more momentum, and your business being reignited, it's just going to build upon. Each month it's just going to get stronger and stronger.
Mm,
And things can happen really fast, because a lot of times, when you have an internal issue, you go to a therapist, or you sign up for more seminars, or you start reading more self help books. And that can take time. You can be with a therapist for like 6 months to a year, and all of that's good. I'm not, I don't
right.
have any issues against that. But if you're an entrepreneur, you want your revenue now,
Hmm.
and you don't want to wait 6 months, because you've got all the bills coming in. You have a lot of expenses to pay, so you want a shift to happen quickly, and
Yeah.
that's what we do.
And that leads me to my next question. A lot of people here are thinking, well, is the revenue reinvention going to be another course? Is it going to be about having another funnel? And what is it that's unique about how you're implementing things inside revenue reinvention that allows things to happen quickly? Is this customized to each person? Talk to me about this.
Yeah. Well, we all know that, entrepreneurs are very smart. So you don't need another course, another funnel, or another coach or mastermind. So how this is different is we really work on the um, your internal capacity and your clarity first. That's the first pillar that we work on. And then we work on momentum and your speed decision,
Mm,
which that's really stalled. So that's important. And then we turn that all into revenue. And that, means with those three pillars, your launches are going better, you're charging more, you're making more money, people are showing up for your programs, they're saying yes
nice.
faster.
Nice.
It all builds upon itself.
Oh, I love this because
Yeah.
most entrepreneurs, anybody watching that's an entrepreneur, has probably spent many thousands of
Yeah.
dollars on programs and strategies. And
Hmm.
oftentimes they already know these things.
Yeah.
And the programs are talking about the same things, and yet nothing is happening
Right.
to their revenue. It's not increasing in any way. And then that leads us to exactly what you're talking about. It's this identity and the internal shift
Right.
that gets them to the next level. Okay, absolutely. So let's see here. Talk to me about the type of customization that happens when people work with you. So let's say we've got someone coming in and they've been charging lower ticket prices and they want to move into premium. Are you going
Hmm.
to customize a strategy for them, or are these people going to be in a group program? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I work one-on-one, and it is customized. It's not cookie cutter. And so you have to, like I said, you have to really work on the internal capacity.
Mhm.
And then once we figure that out, we can work on the business, part of it.
Absolutely. Now,
Yeah.
who does this work for? Which type of entrepreneurs? Are we doing service based, product based? Who do you see the fastest shifts with?
Um, Service based, if you're a coach, if you have any type of
Agency. Yeah.
business, yeah, agencies, who's ever feels like their business is stalled, they're stuck, like they're not showing up with confidence, they feel like something's off.
Hmm.
And that's the thing that most entrepreneurs don't realize what the problem is.
Right.
They think it's like either their strategy, or they think, they need another coach, or they need to join another mastermind. And that's where, like I said, where my gift comes in, because once we get to the root of it all, then we
Now we
can
can
go
build
back
momentum.
and, yeah.
So, talk to me about this momentum piece because, again, a lot of entrepreneurs, they're needing to make money like
Hmm.
yesterday. They've
Hmm.
got bills coming in, and now they're thinking, okay, now we're talking about the reinvention method, revenue reinvention. So, how fast can someone really go from not even making $10,000 months to maybe having their first $50,000 month? Is this something that you see as sequential, or are they able to leap once they use your methods? How fast?
Things can happen really fast. We take care of things and we get things done. There are shifts that can, an entrepreneur can turn things around in days, not like weeks or months. And it's really exciting because once they really get excited to show up for their business with confidence, things shift, and their whole audience knows it. It's
Wow.
like people can sense their different energy, and they start, saying yes faster, and
Yeah.
so it doesn't take months, like we said before.
Mhm. Now, how
Yeah.
does this work with the procrastinating entrepreneur? We all know the procrastinating entrepreneur, and at
Hmm.
some point, maybe we've all been that person.
Yeah.
The one that can't make the decisions about the content, the one that is unsure
Hmm.
whether they should buy this or that or hire the VA. How do your methods work with them, and how does them releasing procrastination lead to increased revenue?
Well, that's the whole problem with them, right? Is that they're not making any decisions.
Mhm.
So once you help them with the clarity and the confidence, and then, once they have like true clarity on what their offer is,
Mhm.
and then they have the confidence to raise their prices, then they're not going to be procrastinating anymore about putting a program out there or launching. The
Yeah.
shift is going to change all of that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this probably also moves fast because, again, entrepreneurs, they're smart. They've got the
Hmm.
courses, the funnels, all the stuff already.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
things are in place to get
right,
moving, and they
right.
don't know why it's not moving.
Hmm.
But the key is this internal shift.
Yeah, because once you get their internal shift taken care of, they can just start working with their strategies that are already proven.
Wow.
So they can just take over with that. They don't have to like find a new strategy or find a new coach or funnel or course. They'll just take off with what they already have.
Mm. And that's what I tell a lot of people. There's no new information. So all the
Hmm.
information about businesses, strategies, your content, all of that's already online
Hmm.
somewhere.
Hmm.
And if that alone was going to work, you would already have, a multi-million-dollar business, but you don't, not because you don't have that information,
Right.
but because there's something internal that's
Right.
not dialed in. And that's the difference between the people that are successful and those that are, having up and down months, they're plateauing, these types of things.
Yeah, and a lot of times that the entrepreneurs don't realize they could have gone through a divorce,
Mhm.
or maybe they had like a relationship breakup with their business.
Right.
Their kids are off to college. And so they have like this emotional, like internal baggage or, feud that's going on. And they don't know what it is. They can't figure it out, but they know something's off.
Mm,
And once you fix that, then
there
you
you
can
go.
rebuild your momentum, and your revenue follows that. It
Wow.
all falls into place.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
So your background as
Mhm.
a professional tennis player is pretty profound. So tell me, how does this tie into entrepreneurship? Why does this make you
Mhm.
a great strategist to help these entrepreneurs unlock revenue?
Well, as a tennis player, you have to have extreme confidence and really believe in yourself. And a lot of people don't believe in you, and so you just have to really have an internal, strength of like the core of believing in yourself and knowing
Right.
that you can do it, and you can rise above any obstacle that comes your way. And that translated to when I worked on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, because they really liked athletes,
Mm,
because, athletes are very competitive.
right.
They're not really sensitive,
Right.
you know, they're quick, they're decision makers. And so I think both of those really helped me um, transfer into like an entrepreneur world.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool because there's a level of precision
Hmm.
that goes with both
Right.
of those that
Yeah.
translates very well to entrepreneurship.
Yeah. You
Hmm.
can't hesitate. You have to be a quick thinker,
Absolutely.
make decisions fast,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in your life, you have experienced profound loss,
Hmm.
right? And so, you mentioned a bit about entrepreneurs who are going through these transitions.
Hmm.
Like, how do you feel an entrepreneur that's going through divorce or children leaving the home or they're moving or they're having a business breakup or a relationship breakup? How does this affect their money?
Oh, tremendously. Their revenue stalls because they're not taking the same action. They're not showing up the same that they were. They're not showing up with confidence. They're probably lowering their prices, because they're feeling insecure about charging that much. It really affects everything. And but the problem is that most entrepreneurs, like we said, like they don't know what to do.
Hmm.
They just, they keep going from, well, maybe it's a strategy. Maybe I need another program. Maybe I need another funnel. So it's really important that you can't figure it out on your own. I mean, I had to get help too. So it's important to work with the right coach that's been where you've been and
Exactly.
now is,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I would say for the people who are watching this, we've said in 60 days in your program, everything can turn around.
Mhm.
And so for the people who are in disbelief right now, who are thinking, well, I've been in these courses for 6 months and nothing's turned around. And it's because they're going to be able to take action
Right.
with your course. They're going to get clarity and then
Hmm.
they'll be able to move forward. What would you say to anyone who is thinking, okay, this is kind of interesting. Maybe this would work for me. Anybody now who's on the fence and they're thinking, I might want to find out more. What would you tell these entrepreneurs about how fast things can shift, about why they need this versus everything else, and why now's the time?
Well, they haven't probably worked with someone who's experienced what I've experienced and then have, made a revenue comeback.
Hmm.
That's one thing. And a lot of times, like I said, you can just continue to take course after course, but you're not going to get the results until you fix the internal problem that's going on.
Exactly.
It's if you're carrying that around with you and you're showing up with this baggage, it's never going to change. You have to
Hmm.
resolve that. And then, like I said, money doesn't know hustle, or it knows frequency. So once you're aligned with everything, everything flows.
Wow, that's incredible. So, for
Yeah.
anyone that wants to find out a little bit about Carol's program and wants to find a way to connect with her, we will be having a QR code placed here, and then you can check it out to be able to find out more. So, Carol, thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Very good.